I have something I need you to translate for me.
Why are you here? Can you understand us? Where did you come from?
Now you heard it. What do you make of it?
Is that
Yes.
how many?
How many what?
How many speaking?
2. Assume they were not speaking at the same time.
Are you sure? Did they have mouths?
So how would you approach translating this? Do you hear any words? Phrases?
I don't know.
So what can you tell me?
I can tell you that it's impossible to translate from an audio file. I would need to be there to interact with them.
And that's a clip from Arrival. It stars Amy Adams. I'm delighted to say Amy's in the studio. How are you, Amy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, very good. I have to say, very few films I go and see and then walk out and think, actually, if I could, I want to walk straight back in and watch it again.
Yes, that is exactly how I felt after reading it the first time. But I did get to go back and read it right away. So it's a very powerful experience to get to sort of re-experience it.
Yeah. So that was the screenplay that you saw. Did you read the book, the original short story, or how did that work? How did you get involved in this?
Well, I was sent. I wasn't aware there was a short story. I was sent the screenplay and fell in love with the script. It was so unique and had such an original take on sort of this sci-fi element and dealt with so many sort of larger issues at the same time. So then I met Denis, and Denis is just, I don't know if you've had the pleasure to speak with him.
I haven't. No, this is Denis Villeneuve. This is the director.
Yeah. I spoke to him about it, and he was tuned into the same elements that attracted me to the script was what attracted him, and so I knew that we'd be simpatico moving forward.
Can you explain what those elements are? I mean, we'll tell the story in just a second, but what is it? What was it in that script that made you think, yes, this is the project?
Well, I loved the bigger ideas, and I loved the sci-fi element, and there's a lot of that's really cool. But at the end of the day, Denis, what he said to me was that through all of this, he doesn't want to lose sight that this is a mother's story to her daughter, and that moved me.
Okay, which I'll ask you about in just a second, but on that bigger story, you are Dr. Louise Banks. You're a linguistics professor. Just explain who you are and where you fit in and what happens.
I am a professor of linguistics. These 12 ships arrive, and the government employs me as one of the members of a crew to try to figure out why they're here, essentially. They've arrived in different countries, and all different governments are dealing with how to communicate with them. And everybody's sent in different teams. And as we begin, we're all working together towards a solution. And sort of as it becomes more fraught with danger and with consequence, nations start to sort of isolate and shut down communication. Don't want to give it all away, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes on. And all during this, we're just trying to figure out how to talk to them. And as I'm figuring it out, things are happening to me. It's one of those that's hard to talk about and not talk about. You know what I mean?
So I think it might be easier to talk about the tone of the movie.
Sure.
And the closest I could come was the movie Contact, the Jodie Foster movie. It's a long time ago.
Which
now.
I love that movie.
I think this has the same spirit of wonder that movie had. They're similar in as much as it's about trying to communicate. But they're very different pictures. But you think that's fair?
I do. I do think that's fair. They're very different and sort of told in different ways, but there is the way that we approach the information that we're given is similar, where some people are very suspicious, others are filled with awe. And I do think that having a really strong intellectual but also instinctual female character is also what they have in common.
You mentioned the mother-daughter section, and we'll have an interesting conversation here, but I will let you lead it.
Okay.
But I think anything that's in the first 5 minutes
we can talk about.
It's fine. And it's fair to say you break our hearts within the first 5-10 minutes of the film. Just explain what happens.
As we begin to tell the story, Louise is introducing us she begins to tell this story to her daughter, who you see sort of very rapidly kind of go through different stages of her life, and then she ultimately dies.
Young.
And that's in the first 5 minutes. That's not a spoiler. So so you sort of see her kind of coming to grips with what that is.
So let's just leave that there.
Yes.
And then we see you as this linguistics professor And of course, so this movie is about communication and language, isn't it? But what an
Absolutely.
extraordinary science it is. I mean, it made me want to, after going back and watching the movie again, it made me want to go and study linguistics, you know?
I hope it does. It was amazing when I started doing research in linguistics. I had assumed very much that linguistics was sort of like a translator of some sort or an interpreter. And although they do have those abilities, some of them, it's a much more sociological science and anthropological and almost mathematic in ways. So it was really wonderful to get to explore all of these different elements of language.
The story has been told exactly as you're saying. We've had our hearts broken. Now there are these spaceships which have landed across the world. In fact, and they've landed. And I have to say, my only criticism of the film is that one lands in England and it lands just above Devon. And we never see any shots of Devon. That side of the story is underplayed.
Well, you know
it's
what?
not-
There's, it's Hollywood. There can always be sequels. I mean, I'm not sure how it would play out, but maybe we could do a little short film, kind
And
of
there's
like
a-
what they did in Devon. Like
Good.
that could be the title.
That is the title, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. What they get up to in Devon. And there's a very good joke about Sheena Easton, which was very funny.
Yes.
And the only joke about Sheena Easton I've ever heard in a movie. But there is this, and everyone I think will have this growing sense that there is a problem sometimes with when we get to see the aliens. And there was a big part of me that thought I don't want to go there. I don't want to see, because sometimes all I'll say is I wasn't disappointed.
Oh, good.
But when you're acting that, and the fact that you have the lead here in communicating with the aliens, what was that like, that moment, which is so important to the movie? What can you see? Can you see anything? Is that all CGI afterwards, or?
Yeah, it's all CGI afterwards. I do always like to give a shout out to our puppeteers who stood behind the white screen and would hold these very long poles with balls on the end to create the shadow eyeline that we could then focus on. And Denis, who's absolutely wonderful, would yell through his thing, this is how we would know that they were coming. If the puppets weren't there, he would go, "They arrive." Which is now how I think they got the title. I was like, oh, well, now it makes sense, because that's exactly what Denis would say anytime
And
we
he
were
said,
supposed to acknowledge that they are now here, is just Denis' booming voice.
we should mention Jeremy Renner, who plays Ian Donnelly,
Absolutely.
Who is the theoretical physicist. In fact, as soon as he's introduced as a theoretical physicist, I thought, okay, he's going to be trouble, because like Jeff Goldblum, he was always trouble, because when he's playing a theoretical physicist, it always means he's going to be, a mischief maker. But actually, he's not like that at all.
He's
But
not at all.
That's a great relationship you've got there.
Thank you. I always love when, you are given the opportunity to develop relationships on screen that feel very real and feel sort of based in respect and friendship.
And you go back, so I've read 15 years to when you sang karaoke together.
Well, we never got to do a duet, and I'm still waiting. And Jeremy is holding out. I don't know if he just wants me to keep begging him, or I'm waiting. I'm really waiting for the Jeremy Renner, Amy Adams duet moment.
It's kind of all on your shoulders, because, it's worth saying you are very much the lead and he is very much the support. I mean, he's an important support, but this is your movie. Is that it works because it's epic and it's intimate, and that's kind of all down to you.
Thank you. I mean, thank you. I when I think about it, I think about Denis, because really that was everything you see is Denis' vision. And the way he communicated, not only with his actors, but with everybody on set. And he's just a wonderfully intellectually emotional human being. And he allows these large sort of set pieces, if you will, to exist. But at the end of the day, he's more interested in the intimate story behind all of it.
Do you watch yourself now? Do you go back in and watch the performance once it's all put together like that? Just the once?
Yeah, at this point, just once. I might... Like, I recently just saw Enchanted again. Like, it's been 10 years, and I watched it with my daughter.
What did she think?
She's like, "Oh, you are so silly, Mama." Like, she likes the details. She's like, "Were you really climbing up? How did you climb up that building? Was that dragon really there, or is that make-believe? And did they draw that?" She had a lot of questions
Is she
about...
slightly impressed that her mum's a movie star?
No.
And a princess?
No. Not at all. And she used to tell me, she's not into princesses anymore. She's outgrown princesses. But now she used to tell me, she's like, "Mom, I'm the princess and you're the queen now. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's great."
Have you told her about the follow-up? And is that why you were watching the original?
No, I was watching it before the follow-up had been sort of announced. It actually came on TV, and so we kind of just kept
Did you
the
enjoy
channel
it?
there. I did actually.
There you go.
I
See,
did.
Everyone else did. So
No, I think time is a real gift to me because when I watch something too close to when I did it, I'm very self-critical, which I think can be a good thing, and I think that keeps you growing. But I sort of miss the larger impact of a film, and so to have some distance, I got to really just enjoy the film Enchanted without sort of anything personal on it. Yeah.
And where are you with your long-term Janis Joplin movie idea?
I don't know.
It's not imminent then?
No, not imminent. No. It's one of those that it's been through many incarnations with many actresses.
Are you still
so.
keen? Are you still keen?
Yeah. It's kind of been just going through different filmmakers and all of that. So, eventually I'm going to age out if I haven't already. But,
It's not imminent then?
Yeah.
But Lois Lane? More Lois Lane now? Is that Justice League?
Justice League is done. I've filmed my bit of Justice League, and then we'll see moving forward. It's kind of a film by film experience.
You will be aware, of course, and this is the point where every actor that we speak to goes, well, I don't want to talk about that, and I really can't think about that. I'm just concentrating on a day-by-day basis. But there is...
How do I already know what you're going to ask me, just
Okay.
based on saying that?
Well, what do you think I'm going to ask?
Really? You go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Oscar nominations, right? So you've had 5.
I really can't think about that right now. I'm just going day by day. I figured we both had to do our bit.
Yeah. Well, I'll follow up.
Okay.
I've got a difficult follow-up, right? So you've been nominated 5 times, but maybe this is the time, because Nocturnal Animals as well. So you're being talked about for that movie, and you're being talked about for this movie. So are you optimistic? Do you think you're in with a shout
Do I think
this time?
In with a shout? What's that? You
Okay,
explain.
So you're in with a chance.
In with a chance. Okay.
Maybe you'll win.
I'm American. No. Gosh, no.
Okay, fine.
No, it's not how I really. No, I kind of. I know it does sound so like. Well, I don't really think about it, but like. For me, especially with these 2 films, I'm super proud of these films. And I do feel a great responsibility being the female lead to communicate these really interesting, well-developed female characters. And so that was kind of the real joy. And not to say you don't think about it when people start talking. Like, I don't follow, what is the great word? Prognosticators? Oh,
that's good.
I don't follow.
You don't follow them?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But, you guys are talking to me.
Well, look,
so
I have to ask it, and you can
I have
answer it,
to-
and then
yeah.
there we go. And we.
I don't follow them, but honestly, my favorite part about it is it's the one time I get to sit and talk with other actresses. They let us sit at a table together. They let us all just be together, and because you don't get as many opportunities to work with these great, awesome women that you admire so much. So I get to sit at a table coming up with Emma Stone and Viola Davis, and it just turns into really wonderful discussion.
Cool. Well, I hope you have a wonderful discussion, then you get something at the end of the evening. Anyway, Arrival, I think it's one of the films of the year, so I certainly thought it was terrific.
Thank you.
Amy Adams, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much.